Hi, it's Monique. So today I wanted to go over a couple of photo tips, basically while shooting sports. So I love shooting sports. I love the action that you have while shooting sports, and you get to really be in the game, but you kind of can't really watch the game, if you know what I mean. When you're taking pictures of sports, you're usually trying to track what the score is, the action, try to get a good photo, try to get a winning photo and a failing photo. And you don't really have time to actually watch the whole game. So I mean, like the whole play and everything. You're looking at the person who has the action, or the person who has the ball, or the puck, or whatever. So I think that I want to go over some of the things that you need to have in order to shoot basketball, because that's one of my favorite sports to shoot. Um, so the first thing I want to go over is I like to go early to locations. I like to make sure that I can scout a location. So if it's a basketball game, it's happening in an arena, or excuse me, a gym. So I want to go to the gym early, and I want to see what the light looks like so I can set my camera accordingly. And also, if you're there early and you have certain permissions, then you can set up things like flashes and all of that. So when I'm taking basketball pictures, um, I like basketball because it's a fairly fast sport. People are running, people are making faces, they're putting in a lot of energy. And it's really good because the target or the subject of your photo usually has the basketball, usually is fending off blocks and things like that, moving down the court. And if you're in the right spot, they're moving straight towards you. So, like, say you're under the key for the opponent's key, and you want to take a picture of someone making a basket, well, they're going to run straight towards the key, or to whichever line that they need to make a score points. So another thing about basketball that I like doing when I'm shooting is I like to get close. So when you get close and you use a wide angle lens, you get to pick up details in people's faces. If they're angry or they're putting a lot of effort into a shot, it'll show on their face. So there are also a ton of other shots that you can take in a basketball game that aren't just, someone with a basketball running. You can turn your camera towards the bench, and you'll see the other players that are waiting on the bench for their rotation. Then you'll see the coaching staff, and you'll see them, call out plays and tell their players what to do and so on. So that's really cool. Another way to get a really awesome shot that's not like the typical basketball picture is to look at the fans. Basketball fans are really usually vibrant fans. They wear bright colored clothing. They spin little things in the air to try to distract the players. They scream, they yell, sometimes they even throw things. So it's really cool if you just turn your camera around and look at the fans. I'm sure you'll find somebody that really stands out 9 times out of 10. And then another thing that I like to do after I take the winning shot and the failing shot, just to make sure, because you don't really know who's going to win the game before the end of the game. So one thing that I like to do is I like to turn around behind me every now and then. So maybe every quarter. And I like to just look at the action happening behind me, just in case something is happening. Say like somebody in the stands is being unruly and they're being carried out, or they're throwing something. Sometimes action is happening behind you that you might not think is important to the game, but it ends up being the thing that distracts the player and makes them stop taking a shot or whatever, or something that's, really important, like to basketball in general, like a fan being carried out by police or something like that. That's an important shot too. Um, so of course, um, the lenses that I bring to a basketball game. So usually I like to bring a wide angle lens or like a portrait lens, like a 50. And like I said, that is for when you're sitting underneath the key, when you're close to the action and you want everything to be really bright. And usually the lights in a professional arena or a professional gym are really bright enough that you don't even need a flash. But yeah, I like to bring one of those. I like to also have a zoom or a telephoto lens while I'm taking basketball photos, because I want to take pictures that are like mid-court. And sometimes it's really cool to like switch it up and not use the same kind of lens while you're taking photos of basketball. It gives you a different perspective. And when you're using a telephoto lens, one of those really neat tricks for any type of sport is that it blurs out the background. So your subject, when you're on spot metering, the subject is sharp and clear and everything, and then everything behind them is just a big blur. And it makes a really great photo. So, yeah. I think the next video that I do, I'm going to review something like maybe hockey or baseball, different kinds of sports, different kinds of lenses that you bring. One thing to remember, though, about photos is to keep your subject sharp. Usually their face you want to be sharp, but sometimes when they're running you want their whole body to be sharp. So what I use is I always have my camera on shutter priority or on manual mode, and that's for Nikon cameras. I'm not sure what it is for Canon cameras, but I also want to be on spot metering, so the subject is always sharp, and I want to be able to track the subject. So what I mean is there should be a little function on your camera, so you should be able to put it on spot metering, and then there should be a button or a setting on your camera that you can hold down, and you can look through the viewfinder and see that it's tracking your subject wherever they go on the court, and they're staying sharp. So on my Nikon camera, if I go into the menu, I'll just show you the back of the camera here in a second. And so you'll be able to see, like in my D200, it's under shooting display and shooting speed. And see, it looks like a little kind of camera and then a bunch of lenses on the side. I don't know if you can see that. It's really bright. Is that better? Okay. So you go into shooting display and it should say, the different points where they'll be in focus. So on like a D300, you press the tracking button on the back and you just, follow them. Another thing is you have to remember that in order to stop motion, you need to be able to have a fast shutter speed. So I like to be on at least 1/500 or faster or like higher, right? Like I said, shutter priority or manual. And you want to make sure that your camera is on continuous shooting. So if you don't set it on continuous shooting, what'll happen is, you'll take a photo, camera will go ka-ching, whatever, and then you try to take another photo and it takes a long time. You want to be able to press down on a shutter button and have it go ka-ching, 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 right? And that is just so that when you're tracking the subject, every single shot is in focus. You don't have to start again, because the way sports works, it's one of those actions that's like a split second. So you don't have time to stop. You have to be continuously looking at the action and tracking it. Okay, so I hope that helps. Like I said, I'm going to be doing probably another sports video because there's just so much about taking photos of sports that you can't cram into one big video. So I might make a video about hockey because that's something that I cover quite a bit, or maybe baseball, or just let me know if you want to see some other tips about different sports like lacrosse and things like that, because each one of those types of sports has something different or has a different trick in order to master taking photos of it. Okay, bye.